Today's fundamental course is Bass 101 with Dean Bridgewater. He's going to teach you what to practice and how to practice, the scales and the fundamentals of playing bass guitar within a worship context. So listen up and practice those scales, guys. Enjoy.
Hi, so my name is Dean, and I'm a worship bass player in the Kitchener, Ontario area. And today we're going to be talking about some bass fundamentals. We're going to be talking about some of the things that I do in preparation for playing. We're going to be talking about bass players' primary function, in my opinion. We're going to be talking about practicing, getting material and music under your fingers. We're going to be talking about listening. We're also going to be talking about the things that you can practice and put into your repertoire to help you to get from one place to another. The primary job of a bass player is to outline the melody. That's one of the things that you're supposed to do. So, for example, if you are playing a worship song like Cornerstone in C, right? So, my hope is built on nothing less. That's the way the song goes, right? So as a bass player, you outline the melody. So, for example, my hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. That's an example of outlining the melody. You're not playing everything involved in there, but you have to carry the structure of the song so that everybody else kind of knows what they're doing. So the other thing that we do is provide a rhythm to a piece of music as well, the other primary function. So, and rhythm is basically a repetition, familiar repetition. So as I play something, for example, let's go back to Cornerstone. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. Every time that part of the song is sung, I'm going to be playing the same thing. I'm not going to change it up. I'm not going to go wild. I'm not going to do anything jazzy or flashy to throw all that off, because I provide the structure and I provide a recognizable rhythm to the song. Let's say, for example, the song is being sung a little bit faster than normal. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. So the rhythm has kind of changed. It's a little bit faster, and obviously I have to step my game up and match that depending on how it's being sung. So that brings into play things like listening, which also becomes very important to do when you're playing as well. So those are some of the fundamentals. I really believe that if you're not outlining the melody, providing structure to the song, and assisting with providing rhythm as a bass player, you're not doing what you should be doing, playing this instrument. So let's talk about practice. So one of the things that you could do as a daily practice is to do scales. Scales are basically a great way to add dexterity and technique to your left and your right hand, depending on which way you play. It's also a good way to train your ear. So music is basically made up of notes and chords. And within those chords, there are scales or structures of notes that make scales. You may have heard the musical phrase, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, right? Most people know that. If you've ever watched The Sound of Music, that's an old movie, but that's a scale. So I'll give you an example of that. In C, right? So now what you could do with that is, you could, first of all, in getting it under your fingers, you need to play it many times so you actually, your ears and your fingers are working at the same time. And you always start slow. A lot of times people want to jump in and go really quickly, and you'll never really learn anything until you slow it down. So you just take your time and break it down. Make sure you're listening while you're playing it. And once you've done it a few times, you can do it in reverse, right? And then once you've done that to the point where it feels more natural for you to do, And you can, speed it up a little bit, right? Right? You can do things like that. That's way down the line, but the most important thing is to really get it under your fingers. What you can also do is break it up into intervals. So you can skip notes. So for example, instead of going da 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 da, you can go. So that's a good way of isolating your fingers, so that you get separate finger independence, right? So let me play it one more time. Right? So that's an example of one way of playing a scale. That's called the major scale or the Ionian scale, right? Now, this is important too. Within each degree of the scale, so da, da, each of those degrees has its own scale attached to it as well. I know, it's crazy. So, for example, I start on the first degree. The second degree. The third degree. The fourth degree. No, that's not it. The fifth degree. The sixth degree. Seventh degree. Let's do that again. And then you're back to the first one again.